So hopefully everybody can hear me now. I believe we were having slight audio issues, so thanks to Steve for bringing that to our attention before the race gets underway, because qualifying is about to start any minute. So I've probably just been talking to myself for the last 10 minutes, but hopefully you can hear me now. If anyone's there, if you could just let me know whether you could hear me, that'd be great, thanks. Cheers for that, Steve, mate. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. I don't quite know what happened there. For everything was turned on correct. I've just had to turn my mic and everything all off and back on, and it seems to be working. So not quite sure why it did that, but at least we've got that sorted now. But obviously, thanks for giving us the heads up on that, Steve. So yeah, obviously I seen you said good luck to Gecko and everyone else, and obviously, hopefully we can see Gecko do well in this race. I mean, we're not going to show any bias, but we are really. We want Gecko to do well, represent RA. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, cheers, Steve. Said I don't know why it was, so, but at least it's all sorted now because qualifying should be about to start soon. But yeah, for a bit of information, so you know what's going on this time round, there will be two 30-minute races rather than one long race. So race one will be set standard way qualifying, 10 minutes, I believe. Yes, 10 minutes qualifying. So, and then the second race will be a reverse grid of the first race results. Yeah, it is a bit of a stacked lobby, Steve. Some very fast guys. A few that I personally don't know who they are, so it'll be interesting to see where everybody gets to. And I believe I will pronounce pretty much everybody's name wrong, so maybe people can correct me on that in the future if they have a specific way they would like their name pronounced. But I'm expecting two very exciting races with the reverse grid. There is no mandatory tyres or anything for this one, so you can use whatever you want. You can not pit at all, you can pit 10 times, you can do whatever sort of strategy you fancy. ×4, I believe, is the tyre wear, and ×1 for fuel. So I don't see fuel being an issue if it's at ×1. And then for qualifying, it says the tyre wear is the same, but there will be no fuel in qualifying. And then everything else is to standard, light damage, real slipstream, bop on, tuning prohibited. Refueling rate is 7 litres a second. Initial fuel's just default. So basically everything else is set as standard as usual. And obviously it is Group 3 cars, as I'm sure you've already noticed. As usual, pit lane cut penalties are on and flag rules are on, so all the usual sort of stuff. And I believe the weather will be random, so there will be no, there could be any type of weather whatsoever, which, as we say that, is looking a little bit murky at the moment. I believe we're still waiting on a few for this lobby though. Maybe just waiting for them to tick in. They might already be here, but qualifying should be kicking off any minute because was due to start at 7 o'clock. So let's see who we've got. I believe we're missing one distinct driver, distinct dark rye or dark grey. So presuming his name's Cooper, as Gecko's asking there. So looks like, unfortunately, he may not be in. Gecko asked about Kevlaro as well, but I know he was in the room earlier and has come back in, so he must have just jumped out because of some connection issue maybe. Reset his PlayStation. But hopefully soon we'll be underway with qualifying. I know, yep, Gecko saying 2 minutes, so I know Gecko likes to give everybody the chance to get in if they can, so he's going to give a little bit of time to see if that final distinct driver can join, but it's looking unlikely at the moment. But there should be 12 drivers, and currently there's only 10. So there is someone else missing as well. Not seeing anyone having left the room, so... But I'm sure we saw 10 in before, and that was before Jack had joined, so... Who's the other driver we're missing? Let me just have a quick run through and see if I can figure out who else is missing. Kevin 77, I believe, is the other one we're missing. So we'll be 2 drivers down, unfortunately. But it should be an exciting race. Obviously, weather set to random. Obviously, once qualifying starts, the lobby will all be reset. So, but the weather's not looking the greatest at the moment. Looking very overcast, like it's likely to rain. So that could throw some spice in the mix if anything like that happens. As I said, if anyone wants me to run through any of the rules for this race, just let me know in the comments and I'll let you know anything you're after. But here we go. Looks like qualifying's just getting underway. So we'll see who manages to be first out the pits. 10 minutes, I believe, for qualifying. Let's see who's got out the pits first. Gecko, the lobby host, so we'll get past. So we'll go on board with Gecko for his outlap, and then seeing he's at the front of the pack, he can show us how to do a lap around this track in this mighty Ford GT. The VQS Jack showed us in the exhibition series how fast this car can be, but he also showed us how much of a handful it can be. So let's see whether Gecko can handle it. And we know with this car, as soon as the tyres start to die off, it does become very difficult to keep it on the track. So that'll be the interesting part on this with this car, was when the tyres start to wear. But as I said, 10 minutes it'll be for qualifying, with 180 seconds after the qualifying ends. So it's always a struggle now on GT7 to get that final lap in sometimes. So could want to get your good lap in nice and early, and obviously everyone will be trying to set decent bankers. But Steve brought audio issues to my attention earlier, so if there is any other audio issues, just let me know and I can sort it out, or attempt to sort it out, and then at least sort it out for next week if there's any issues. But as Gecko just comes to start his first flying lap now then, looks like everybody behind spreading out a little bit, getting nice gaps for themselves. No one really going for the slipstream, more going for a bit of space. Gecko keeping it nice and tight here. It's always a difficult corner to see where the exit is, and then trying to get in and get over this curb, which Gecko doesn't quite manage to do on this lap. And then using all the track on the outside here, as the car looked like he was having to fight it a little bit there. Then they're just turning in nice and gentle. In back over to the left and trying to hug a tight apex around here. And now coming down to, let's see how Gecko takes this corner. You can keep it tight, sort of double apex it, or you can go in a bit deep for the late apex. Looks like Gecko's going to keep it tight for a double apex and try and get a decent exit. That's good to hear, Steve. Cheers, mate. And then is he flat through in? No, there is a slight lift through the Schumacher S's in this car. So not quite managing to hold it flat. And down to second, taking all that curb and back over to the left. And a slight dab of brake to get turned in now. And now on the run up to the chicane, where he's going to want to cut as much of the curbs as he can. So we'll see how much of that curb he does manage to cut. See, braking around about the 100 metre board. Really cutting that first part, really cutting that second part. And now up onto the curb on the left, trying to keep it tight and get as early on the power as you can for the exit. And then let's see what time he's going to set. It's going to be a 1:53.3. So let's just flick to everybody behind, see how everybody else does. Manuel not quite as quick. Kevlaro going to go up into second. As Juan Betis goes to second. What about Halo Honor? No, poor lap, so he probably had an issue and going for the fast lap now. Let's see what Oni can do. Oni goes up into third there then. So let's see what VQS Jack can do in the Mazda. And he takes pole position by 4/10 there. And I think there was one more left across the line, distinct space. But not quite as quick. So let's see where everybody else is. Gecko was front of the train, wasn't he? So let's see if Gecko is improving on this lap as he comes to the sector point. No, he's 3/10 down with that tyre wear. So will he come into the pits for some new tyres? And let's see some of those behind him. One Bitits. Bititits. I don't know how, I might just call him Bitty or Bit. But it doesn't look like anyone's really improving on these worn tyres, and it looked like Jack and Gecko were the only two to really set decent laps there, as everyone else is quite a way off, which is unusual. So I imagine everybody here's probably got more in the locker. As we do see, Oni is improving on his lap, as Gecko does come into the pits, and so does Miguel. And so does Ace Killer. As I said, a few coming into the pits, going to go for another fast lap on fresh tyres. Let's see how Oni does. They were improving on their lap, so let's see. Where will that put them? Up into third, but still a fair way off those top two. So 4/10 separating the top two, and then 9/10 to third. So this is a huge gap as Jack improves his time to 7/10 ahead. So Jack is absolutely flying in this one at the moment. So there's 7/10 from Jack to the next fastest driver, which is Gecko at the moment. So I imagine all these guys have definitely got more in them. Let's see who's at the front of the train. Gecko's back out at the front again, by the looks of it. And it looks like everybody had come into the pits. Let's just see if anyone looks like they're on a fast lap. Kevlaro's still out there. He's got fairly worn tyres. So let's see whether he's improving on his lap. But he'll probably want to get in the pits for fresh tyres to get one more fast lap in. But he is over half a second up, so he will probably complete this lap. But then he'll want to come straight back into the pits to get a final flying lap in. Let's see now, coming around the final corner. See how much of an improvement he can make, whether he can get ahead of Gecko. No, but he does go up into third and reduces that gap to Gecko. But there's still a hell of a gap at the front of this. Let's go through. It looks like Distinct Space is still out as well. So I wonder whether he's up on his time. But he's probably going to want to come into the pits for fresh tyres to get another fast lap in. Didn't look particularly comfortable there, and a big slide on the exit. So let's see if Distinct Space can improve. He doesn't improve, but he is going to stay out. He's not going to try and come in for fresh tyres and get round, but they're going to run out of time now anyway to do that. So let's look at Gecko. Was at the front of this field, so he will probably have this lap and one more after it to try and beat Jack, but 7 tenths is going to be a huge gap to overcome. Jack is just flying ahead of everyone by a mile at the moment. Let's see now through the chicane, he's just got the final corner to go. Coming up to the line, what's it going to be? It's not an improvement, so he stays second. He's 2 tenths off his fastest time. So now he's going to have one final lap on worn tyres, if he'll have time to get round, that is. Kevlaro just crossed the line. Don't think he's improved, and he's on really worn tyres now, so probably a hit for him, but should get round for another lap maybe. I think the rest of these guys aren't going to get round for the final lap. Yeah, so Oni on a final lap. See if we see anyone else improve as there's a couple going across the line. Let's keep our eyes on Oni for now. As Honor does improve, goes up to 7th position there. And Oni doesn't manage to improve, matches their time. Well is completed. Bits, let's see how Bits does. Can he improve? No, he's not able to improve there. But Honor finished their lap. Distinct Space has finished. Ace Killer's finished. Has Mark finished their lap? Yes, I believe they have. Jack's finished his lap. So it looks like we've got Gecko and Kevlaro are the only 2 left on flying laps here. Let's see if they'll have time to finish them. So just sort my headphones out. So let's see, has Gecko managed to improve now on his final lap? He does, but not by much, so he stays in 2nd place. So 9.5 tenths and nearly a full second. Jack has taken pole by here. So that's an unbelievable lap from Jack, nearly a second ahead of Gecko. And then we've got Kevlaro 4 tenths behind in 3rd. And then another big gap of 6 tenths down to Miguel. Then we have Oni very close behind, with Bits very close behind, and then Honor very close as well. So we could have a great fight between them 4 guys, with Distinct Space only 2 tenths behind them as well, and then another 3.5 tenths to Ace Killer, and then Mark, unfortunately a bit off the pace at the moment, maybe struggled in qualifying, so hopefully he can do a bit better in the race and make up some positions there then. Well, that's one hell of a qualifying lap from Jack there, to be 9.5 tenths ahead of the rest of this field when there's some other very quick drivers here. And very good to see Gecko in 2nd place. Hopefully he can stick with Jack, or maybe out-strategy him to try and get something from this race. But if we're looking at that qualifying, then I don't think anybody's going to be looking past Jack in this one, really. But we've got a nice variety of cars as well. As you can see in this lobby, I actually don't think in this lobby we have a single driver in the same car. Yeah, just with my quick scan, Jag, Merc, Viper, Genesis, Jag, no we do, we've got 2 Jags, McLaren, Subaru, Porsche, Ford GT and the Mazda. So other than 2 people in the F-Type Jag, we have all different cars. So that'll be very interesting to see in terms of tyre wear and stuff, how that works out for people. So I know obviously Gecko up there in 2nd place, but we've seen in the exhibition series how bad that Ford GT can be on its tyres, so that might not be good. And if I'm remembering correctly, that Mazda used to always be very good on tyres and fuel, but I mean fuel shouldn't be an issue in this one, so if that is still good on tyres, then Gecko will struggle to keep up with Jack probably, with that pace difference. So, race will be getting underway soon. So obviously it's a 30-minute race, followed by a second 30-minute race, which will be a reverse grid of the results of this race. There is no required tyres or anything like that. You can use whatever you want, no required pit stops, so we'll see how this one goes for everybody. As there we go, just getting underway. So probably going to have to jump back in again, unfortunately. So yeah, same as usual. The problem with this game, always takes us off the view we want. So Jack gets a good getaway, but so does Gecko there. So is Gecko going to make the move into the inside? He is. But can Jack hold it round the outside as Gecko gets a bit of a slide? So Jack gets the advantage back there. So Jack does hold that lead. So as we are for 1st, 2nd and 3rd at the moment, we see a bit of contact there behind, and Kevlaro gets spun out, unfortunately. So that's not the start that Kevlaro would have wanted. Not quite sure. It looked like it was the Subaru that made contact. So that's Miguel. So we'll have to see. Not quite fully sure what actually happened. But that has allowed Jack and Gecko to pull away a little bit. But Gecko will want to keep with Jack as long as he can. Let's just have a quick check what tyres everybody's on. So we have Jack on mediums, Gecko on softs. So Gecko actually needs to get past Jack really, because he's on the softer compounded tyre, unless he's going to accept the 2nd place and just look for Jack to pull him away from everybody else behind. Then we have Miguel on softs, Ace Killer softs, Mart softs, Bit softs, Honor on the mediums, Distinct Space on the mediums, Kevlaro on the mediums, and then Oni on the soft. So Oni's had an issue as well now. So moving back to the front, and Jack is actually pulling away here. Very close to breaking that slipstream to Gecko. So Jack just showing us how fast he actually is here. He's already in the 1st lap on the harder compounded tyre, pulled out a 2nd. on Gecko in second place. So we're starting to get the cars spread out a little bit already. So we've got Kevlaro looking to come back through the field. Back up to 7th place now, as we must have had other issues. There's some more. Yeah, Marta's got damage, and Honor's dropped back as well. So I wonder if there's been any contact between those guys. As Kevlaro is looking to move back up to 6th place. He will want to get back through this field and get back up into that top 3. As he just made a little bit of contact with the back of space there, but luckily everybody gets away with that one. And this is going to be awkward for Kevlaro on the mediums as well here. I believe it is a JP Nexus livery that Jack's using, Steve. The same one as Gecko. Well, I say the same one, different card obviously. But the same style of livery that he did for Gecko as well. So, got any more close battles? Bits and Ace Killer are now very close together. I think Bits was ahead of Ace Killer before, I think. So, Ace Killer might be looking to try and pull away now. Let's move back to the front as Gecko is still hanging in there a little bit to Jack. And he is dropping Miguel behind. Yeah, so Gecko is hanging with Jack. The only problem is Gecko's on the softer compounded tyre, so really he'd want to be quicker than Jack at this stage, especially in a car that can be very high on tyre wear. But I'm not 100% sure how that Mazda is. I thought it was quite good on tyre wear. I know it used to be good on fuel, which isn't an issue. But maybe it's not too good on tyre wear. We'll have to wait and see. But Gecko just doing his best to stick with Jack for now and pull away from the rest. As Miguel has got a bit of a gap between everybody now. He's in a little bit of no man's land in 3rd place. But I don't think he'll be too bothered by that. As we've got Ace Killer going for a bit of a slide there, with Bits right up behind him. As Bits runs really wide on the exit, and he cracked. Oh no! Bits has gone off there. He run too wide on the exit, and he must have touched the grass, and that's him off. So that's Ace Killer in a bit of clear air now. But he's got distinct space, and Kevlaro looking to chase him down. And as I said, Kevlaro, after that incident right near the start, is going to want to do something. But no, Ace Killer must be using a PS4 and possibly a Fanatec, as he's just had a screen freeze and jumped backwards there. So that's an easy move for distinct space when a car just disappears and reappears behind you. Probably scared Kevlaro a bit though, to all of a sudden have a car in between him and space. So Ace Killer might have a bit of trouble in this race, because I find when it happens to me, once it happens once, that's it, it keeps happening. Hey Ray. Yeah, good luck in your race, Steve. As Ace Killer's looking to make the move back on space now, but not quite far enough alongside to go for it. As Kevlaro is all over the back of him now. So will Kevlaro be able to get the run down into turn 1? As Ace Killer is dropping back from distinct space now, who Kevlaro was all over the back of. But no, he's not close enough to go for a move into turn 1. Just not got the power in that Porsche by the looks of it. Let's just flick back through the field now then. So Bits is a bit on his own after that crash. And Oni is trying to catch him up, who had a fairly good qualifying but has dropped back. We must have missed what happened to them, because they ended up right at the very back at one point. And then we've got Mart and Honor, who both dropped back out of nowhere as well, so they must have also had an incident. But they're very close together at the back. So let's go back to the front now, where Jack has still got a comfortable lead, but Gecko's still hanging on to him there. So Jack has got the fastest lap at the moment, But look at Gecko's laps, 2.4s in a row, and Jack 2.4s in a row. Look at that consistency from those two guys at the top here. A 54.426 and a 54.423 for Jack. That's incredible. And a 54.462 and a 54.467 for Gecko. You can't get much more consistent than that. Just trying to see how Jack's tyre wear is looking in that car compared, because it is on the harder compounded tyre, so it shouldn't be wearing as much. But looking at those tyres, they may be able to go all the way to the end of the race. I'm not quite sure, as Jack sets a new fastest lap of the race. So Gecko is struggling to hang on with him here. He's really pushing hard to hang on, but they are pulling a massive gap to the guys behind. Gecko on a different strategy to Jack up ahead, but he's on the same strategy as the guys behind, so pulling away from those guys will be big for Gecko at the moment, who is looks like he's looking after his tyres fairly well, but I know it's the rear that obviously starts to go on that Ford GT, and it does become a bit of a handful, as we saw in Jack's hands in the exhibition series. So it is definitely one to watch out for. But let's go back through the field now and see how Kevlaro is doing with trying to get back past Ace Killer. He's still stuck there behind him. So Ace Killer's lag is holding strong at the moment. So fingers crossed for him that he doesn't have a screen freeze again. But I can't quite, Space looks like he's starting to pull away, and then all of a sudden gets pulled back in a little bit. So these three guys look very even on pace at this stage of the race. But Kevlaro is on the medium tyres, so that's going to be a big advantage to him later on. So we'll see how that comes into effect. Hey Henry, nice to see you, mate. So this is our main battle to watch at the moment between these three, as Ace Killer looks like he showed a nose a little bit there on distinct space, but wasn't able to make anything happen. But these three are very close. These are the closest of the guys in this race. As Kevlaro looking to try and take advantage of anything. He will be wanting to pull forward after he got tagged by the look of it very early on. Oh, as Ace gets very sideways there. No, Kevlaro can't quite get his nose in. Has to back out of that one. But he gets a good run now, but he's going to struggle to get anything done. So this is an interesting battle to check back with. So we've got Bitch trying to make up for his mistake earlier on and come back through. And Oni getting very close behind him now, but Oni's tyres don't look in very good shape at all. So we'll see how long before Oni decides to come into the pits now then. And again, if any of these drivers are watching this back, if you have a specific way you want me to pronounce your name, if you do, just give me a message on Discord. I will attempt to pronounce it the best I can. As you see, Halo in a massive amount of no man's land here, but picking up a penalty. We've seen them pick up a few penalties in this one. And then Mart has come into the pit, so Mart is our first pitter of the race, so that's why he's off at the back. So we'll see whether that early pit stop pays off for Mart at all there. So back to the front now. Jack is starting to pull a bit of a gap. Gecko struggling to keep this pace up now, as those tyres begin to wear, especially on the rear. Yeah, so Gecko's really going to be struggling with those tyres now, because as we saw with Jack in the exhibition series, this car can be a handful once you start getting down to a quarter tyre wear and less. So let's see how Gecko handles it now, as he gets a little bit of a slide on there. So you can see he is starting to feel that rear tyre wear now by the looks of it. As in sector 1, they are half a second off the pace they were setting earlier. So the tyres are definitely coming into account now, and this is Jack's time to take advantage of that harder compound that he is on, because his tyres will now be the better tyres than Gecko's at this point in time. Both these guys are running a JP livery, as you'll see. Look, very, very similar liveries made by RA's livery creator JP. So great to see him making liveries for others as well. Yeah, Henry, hopefully Gecko can push and get something here, but he's going to struggle against Jack. Jack is like a robot at this game. There's just no stopping him, it seems. 9 tenths ahead of anybody else in qualifying was Jack, so that shows the pace difference this guy has got. So Gecko's having to be at his best just to hang with him, and that's with Jack on the harder compounded tyre, so that shows how much pace Jack has got here. So let's see how Miguel's getting on. Looks like he's pulling away from the guys behind still. Not by much though, but he's still being pulled away from by those in front. By they said he's on the same strategy as Gecko now, as his front tyres in that car are totally dead. So where's distinct space has started to get a bit of a gap, as Kevlaro has pulled away from Ace Killer now. So I wonder if Ace Killer's had more screen freezes or whether he's just had tyre wear issues, because lap 7 he was 3 seconds off, sorry, 2 and a bit seconds off the pace of those guys he was racing with. So he may have had a screen freeze, because that is roughly how much you lose. As you said, it's about a second worse than lap 3 where he had a screen freeze, so that could have been the cause of that again, unfortunately. As Kevlaro picks up a penalty just as he gets back on to the back of space now. But Kevlaro also on the medium tyres, so this is the stage of the race where he will have an advantage at the moment. And as you, oh no, but Space is also on the mediums, so they're on the same strategy, these two. So could be very interesting watching these two for the rest of the race, because they're on the same strategy at the moment and they look very, very similar paced. So that'll be interesting to check back on. So let's move back now, as Jack has got a 2-second lead over Gecko now. And is Gecko going to come into the pits now? He is. So here comes Gecko into the pits with next to no tyres left. So he's done well to keep that car on the track, as Jack's going to continue on at the front of this race, just controlling it at his pace. Miguel is also into the pits behind Gecko. Space coming in as well, but Kevlaro staying out. I'm surprised that Space is coming into the pits when he's on mediums, but he's possibly just going to go to mediums again, pitting exactly halfway in the race. Strategy-wise is the best way to go. Whereas Kevlaro and Jack, I imagine, are going to want to go a bit longer and come out on softs and not have to worry about tyres. So Gecko's gone halfway and then come out onto softs again. So as we saw, those tyres only just lasted that half distance. So Gecko taking a risk with this car, being very oversteery when the tyres get worn. So, but we'll see whether on them fresh tyres, whether he can get the undercut on Jack. But it'll have to be a very big undercut. But if he can get the undercut on Jack, then he might be able to hold him off. But Jack, I imagine, will be coming onto the soft tyres and he'll have a lot of pace. So I imagine Jack will do another couple of laps before pitting, so he can get onto them softs and not have to worry about them at all. Same with Kevlaro. But Gecko has pulled a massive gap during that pit. Oh no, he was already 10 seconds ahead, wasn't he? Getting myself a bit confused there. So Miguel's tyres were also dead at the end of that stint, but he's gone for the same. Pit halfway through for another set of softs, but Space has gone for the mediums again. So we'll see how that, because this could be the changing strategy between Space and Kevlaro now then. So can Kevlaro get himself back up to a possible third position? I think is the best that Kevlaro will be able to go for now, as he does come into the pit, so maybe a bit earlier than I would have expected. I'd have expected him to go for another lap or two, but we'll see when he comes out whether he puts softs or mediums on again, as Bits has moved back up into a 6th place now, and he is on the softs. Unji onto the mediums, so his tyre wear did look really bad, so he's not confident in the tyres. And Ace Killer down into 8th, now onto the softs again, but his tyres were totally dead at the end of that stint and he lost a lot of time, so that's why he's now stuck behind these guys that pitted a bit earlier. And then Mark, who pitted really early, has gained a place on Honor, but might struggle to get the tyres to the end, but should be alright as Honor goes a little bit straight on but manages to recover it there. So let's just see where's Kevlaro come out. He's come out right behind Distinct Space, but he's not changed tyres. As Kevlaro, unfortunately, looks like he's had an issue in the pits, unless we're seeing wrong on the data here. But Kevlaro was pitted, come out in 5th, and has not changed tyres. So that's got to be an error there. That obviously, there's no way he's meant to do that, because why would he have gone into the pits? Fuel is not an issue in this. Yes, Ray Gecko is doing really well, and Kevlaro was doing well, but it's very strange what's happened to him now. So we'll stay on board with him to see whether he comes back into the pits again, because I imagine he'll have to. But it's all gone wrong for Kevlaro. Started this race in 3rd, got tagged very early on and got spun round, and ended up at the back of this field and has made his way back through. Looked like he would have been able to chase down that 3rd place again, but he's now going to have to pit again. He is. So Kevlaro, everything's gone wrong for him here. Clearly an issue. Hopefully he clicks the right button this time, but we'll see where he can recover to now. He's going to really struggle to recover back through this field, having had to do a 2nd stop now. So let's see. Jack will probably come in this lap. Only have 10 minutes to go on the soft tyres, so I imagine he'll come in, but he is going to drop behind Gecko if he does come in. Gecko will have managed to do that undercut on him. But let's just stay on board with Jack now then to see. Now let's just flick back to Kevlaro quickly, see where he's come out. All the way in 9th place Kevlaro's come out, and he has put the soft tyres on. So let's see. 3 seconds to Mark, then 9 seconds to Ace Killer. I don't think he'll get back to 5th. He's going to struggle to get back to 7th here, unfortunately. But we'll keep an eye on that later on, see how he does. So let's see, is Jack going to come round into the pits now? Yes, he is, and we imagine this will be soft tyres for Jack. So Jack will be hunting Gecko down now then, I imagine. So let's go on board with Gecko and see what the gap is when Jack comes out the pits. But the gap to Jack has definitely come down since Gecko came out the pits. And Gecko has set a new fastest lap as well. So Gecko is flying since pitting. But his tyres are really going to go off at the end of this race. But if he's got track position over Jack, which he will do, then Jack still has to pass him. Doesn't matter if he's quicker, he's still got to actually get by. So Gecko going to have to go on the defensive now for the final 8 minutes of this race, or just over 8 minutes. So let's see how he manages with this one. So he's got 3.5 seconds to play with, Gecko. But Jack in qualifying was 9/10 quicker than Gecko in second place. So we know the speed that Jack has got, that he could really close this gap very quickly. So, and Jack on the mediums, on the fresh mediums, was doing 54.2s and 54.4s. So Gecko now doing 54.1s. Great consistency again there from Gecko. 54.168 followed by a 54.172. But as I said, if we know the pace Jack will now have on these soft tyres, it'll just be whether Gecko can hold him off, and I think Jack should get him fairly easily, but we'll see how much of a fight Gecko is willing to put up here. So let's just move back down the field as Miguel looks like he's got a clear third place now. But I believe it was Miguel that had contact with Kevlaro early on, so there may be something for the stewards to look at afterwards, but it was hard to tell on stream exactly what happened, but it definitely looked like there was contact between those two cars. Then Distinct Space now should have a comfortable fourth, but Bits on the soft tyres will be chasing him down, but the tyre wear should kick in for Bits before he's able to get by Space, I imagine. Oni now then looking fairly comfortable in 6th at the moment, so hopefully Oni can keep hold of that, as Ace Killer been having some problems with screen freezes, unfortunately, one of which we did manage to catch. And then Kevlaro has now got back up into 8th, but it's 11.8 seconds he's got to chase down with only 6 minutes left in this race. So unfortunately, I think Kevlaro, after looking like he could have been back on for the podium after that early incident, is well and truly out of this race now. And then we've got Mark, followed by Honor, who's had some issues since coming out the pits by the looks of it. So Gecko now that gap down to 2.5 seconds. So Jack is really chasing him down now. And the biggest unfortunate thing of that Kevlaro is, I mean, we were looking for a good battle between Kevlaro and Space, and then the possibility of Kevlaro trying to chase down Miguel. So we've not got that excitement anymore, but we have got Jack chasing down Gecko. And look at the, I mean, he's just catching at a rate of knots. I don't think Gecko's going to have any answer for this at all. He's going to have to defend for his life to stop Jack getting past, but Jack just looks way too quick here. Let's see what this fastest lap by Jack's going to be now. Hey DTR, mate. Nice to see you. So let's see, Jack's going to set a fastest lap here, but how much faster? A 53.0. 1.1 seconds quicker than Gecko's fastest lap. So I don't want to say it, but I don't see, look, fresher soft tyres and that much speed. I don't really know how Gecko's going to manage to hold on here, but he won't give up without a fight, I imagine. It could get very interesting, but I don't know if he's going to have an answer at all, unfortunately. Yeah, Henry, that's just one hell of a lap time there. Like I said, he was 9/10 quicker in, well, 9.5 quicker than Gecko in qualifying. So, I mean, it's not that surprising that now that he's on fresh softs, he's 1.1 seconds quicker than Gecko's fastest lap. But look at this, he's within that second mark now. So, we'll see how Gecko plays this. Will he just accept his fate and take this second place, or is he going to fight for his life to try and get this win in this one? With 3.5 minutes left to go now then, so it'll be 2 more laps from when they cross the line, I imagine. So we'll be crossing the line with 2 more laps to go. But look at this, Jack's already right over the back of him, so Gecko's going to have to hold him off for 2 laps if he wants to win in this race. So we'll stay on board with these two now then, because this is where it's interesting. Oh, and look at that exit from Jack. He just gets a great exit there. Nearly makes contact with Gecko, but he manages to get his nose to the inside. But Gecko does get the pace down the straight. So Gecko's going to defend the inside now then. So Jack's going to look to sweep round the outside with them fresher soft tyres. As Gecko gets a twitch, and he does. Look at that for the move from Jack. Unbelievable driving there. Just absolutely clear round the outside, no problems at all. And Gecko, the problem taking that narrower line, there's a little bit of a bump as you turn in. And in that Ford GT that's a bit ropey on the rear end, he just can't handle it. And look at this, Jack's just pulling away now. I think that's game over for Gecko. We said how long would it take for Jack to get by, and it literally took one corner, and that was it. So, unfortunately, Gecko's going to have to settle for the second place now. I think for Jack, it's just a matter of how much he wins this by. But Gecko's got a comfortable second place as it stands, and Miguel should have a fairly comfortable third place. But tyre wear is getting pretty bad for some of these guys now. Yeah, Henry, that's what I said. He had to try and defend, but Jack was just way too quick. There was nothing he could really do there. Jack just swung that round the outside. Like, I mean, you'd have thought there that Gecko was on 2 or 3 compounds harder a tyre than Jack there, the way he just cruised round him on the outside. So Bits is getting fairly close to distinct Space now, but Space's tyres will now be the better tyre to be on, so I think he should start to pull away again now. So that should be our top 5 order without any mistakes as it is at the moment. Oni looks fairly comfortable in 6 as well without any mistakes. Ace Killer starting to struggle on tyres, but should be fairly comfortable without too many issues in 7th. But Kevlaro obviously really trying to chase down, but these guys are going to get one more lap, I believe. And then Mart and Honor should be coming to cross the line for their final lap. So I don't believe they will make it to the line in time to get one more lap. So this will be the last lap of the race for these two. So 9th and 10th should be pretty settled. So we'll just watch these guys cross the line, and then we'll move back to see what's going on, because no real battle going on at the moment, unfortunately. Everyone's sort of got the space. So Mark's going to come home for the 9th place with Honor in 10th. So Honor takes 10th place there. So now back to Jack, 2.5 seconds that lead is now. He's just cruising to victory here. So I think Jack's easy going to make this pole, fastest lap, race win, you know, the full hat trick there. And I mean, Gecko did his best to stop him, but the way Jack pulled off that overtake, I don't think anyone was going to stop him in this one. So it'll be interesting to see how Jack does coming through the field. The way he passed Gecko, I can't see him having many issues, to be honest. I think he'll cruise his way to the front on the reverse grid race quite easily. And here he goes, taking victory. There he is, great win there for Jack, and great for Gecko, only 3 seconds behind. It's a great race from Gecko there as well. Miguel gonna come home to bring it in 3rd, with his tyres nearly completely gone now. But as I said earlier, if you didn't hear, there was an incident involving Miguel and Kevlaro right at the start of the race, I believe. So could be something for the stewards to look at there. As Space has been very consistent and clean there to take home 4th. Bits in 5th, good recovery after an early mistake of getting on the grass and crashing on his own. Oni, who dropped to the back very early as well, getting a 6th place with Ace Killer in 7th. And everything just went wrong for Kevlaro. Tagged early on in the race, spun round, ended up at the back of the field, worked his way back through into a fairly decent position, and then had that pit stop blunder of not changing his tyres, and takes home 8th place. So great racing there from everybody. So Jack was going for the no stop, which I thought he might do, but when he remembered there's a point for fastest lap. Yeah. Well, I mean, fastest lap was in the bag easy for you there, Jack. 1.1 seconds quicker than anybody else's fastest laps. But yeah, I wondered if you were or if you were going to pit, but also once you had that gap, I mean, you were always going to come out very close to Gecko, so with the fresher tyres, so I think pitting was definitely the right strategy in the end, even though you did lose that track position for a bit, and it didn't prove too difficult to actually get past Gecko. But yeah, the next race will be a reverse grid, so we'll see how Gecko and Jack do coming from the back, because they pretty much controlled that race together. Yeah, they were getting fairly low on tyres by the looks of it. I think you had enough to make it. You'd have just had to have been very cautious on that final lap, probably. But great racing there, Jack. I mean, Gecko was struggling to even keep with you in that first stint on the mediums, so I'm not surprised you were that much quicker once you put the softs on. Oh, Kevlaro just saying he pressed the skip button by mistake when changing tyres, which is what we thought happened. So all went wrong for Kevlaro, who, as I said, could have possibly chased back down for the 3rd place, but would have been in the race with space for 4th. So Gecko's just put there 5-10 minute break before race 2. So race 2 will be a reverse grid. As there we go, Gecko's changed the settings. Oh, and it looks a lot murkier now than it did in that last one. It is set to random. See if anyone chooses to come out and practice. Gecko's going to manually set the reverse grid by the looks of it instead. Let's see if anyone chooses to go out onto the track to do a little bit of practice. It doesn't look like they're going to. But I'll just leave you on this screen for the moment, guys. If there was a car out on track, I would have put you on spectator them. Let's just pick a random car. Let's go on space to see whether he goes out. So I'll be back in a second, guys. Just bear with me. So it looks like everybody is taking the chance to have a quick break here. So Gecko just asking for Miguel and Kevlaro to tick in so that he can set the grid. So just waiting for Kevlaro to tick in for Gecko to set the grid now then. Still nobody's going out for a quick bit of practice before race 2. So effectively race 2, same setting, same everything. The only difference is reverse grid. So we'll see how Jack and Gecko do coming through the pack now. And we'll see how Kevlaro gets on, because Kevlaro had the pace for the 3rd place by the looks of it, but had all them issues. So if Kevlaro can be starting nearer the front this time, if he can get through and Gecko and Jack can get held up, he could possibly be in the fight for the win in this one. But let's see. Gecko and Jack will just be wanting to get through the pack cleanly, because as Kevlaro showed, you get caught up early on, makes the race very difficult for yourself. So Gecko and Jack will have to be very careful of that, very cautious coming through the other guys. So Gecko just checking everybody's ready. So we'll be getting underway with this reverse grid very soon. So look at that, Kevlaro starting up in 3rd place there. So he'll be wanting to get through and run away a little bit. And as I said, we'll be keeping an eye on those guys at the back to see how well they come through. Any predictions in who's going to win this one? Just let me know. Looking at what Jack did in the last one, I think we'll be very hard pressed to stop Jack. You know, I think he'll come through the field fairly cleanly, and then he'll have the pace once he's in clear air. So Mart and Honor, very good starts there. Ace Killer gets a better start than Kevlaro by the looks of it. But can Kevlaro keep it on the outside? No, we don't. But a screen freeze must have happened again there, as Ace Killer basically just disappeared into the shadow realm out of nowhere. So he's down into 8th place. So Kevlaro's still in 3rd, so Kevlaro will be looking to make up some positions, but that's a terrible start of the race for Ace Killer to have a screen freeze partway round turn 1. But we see there on the left-hand side, Gecko has got up into 6th place now. So Gecko must have got a really good start. But Jack only just getting up past Ace Killer into 8th place. But Ace Killer is still on the inside. But Jack holding it round the outside there. Very good move from Jack. And he's got the run on bits now. So he might be back up behind Gecko in no time. But Kevlaro needs to get past these two as quick as he can and try and run away to give himself a gap to Gecko and Jack, because that's probably his main competition for this race. Oh, as Honor goes off there, so that's going to give Kevlaro the run. Yes, and Kevlaro is clear before the chicane. And is Oni going to look for the move into the chicane? No, sensibly just sits behind going through the chicane now then, as Jack is now back up behind Gecko. So Jack and Gecko still right there together in 6th and 7th at the moment, as Mart has managed to create a little bit of a gap. See if there's any changes of strategies. We've got spaces on the mediums again, so expect medium from him. Jack, however, has gone for the softs this time, so see if he does the same as everybody else, soft, or whether he goes for the mediums later on. I imagine he'll just follow Gecko's strategy from race 1 and do softs. Kevlaro runs a little bit wide there, but gets away with it. We've got movement ahead. We have Gecko has got past space there. So can he now get past Oni and Honor as well? As Oni really looks like he wants to get past Honor there, but struggling to actually get the move done. So you see now Kevlar looks very close to Mart, which he is. So let's see whether Kevlaro manages to go for the move at all now, as he gets the run out the corner on Mart, but they're going to be single file through the S's, I imagine. That Jag looked much more comfortable through the S's than the Porsche did. As Kevlaro was another one of those that started on mediums, but has chose to start on the softs this time round. And he is going to get that move done on Mart, is he? As Mart pulls to the inside of the track. So Kevlar is going to have the inside going down into the chicane. Is he going to go for it? He does look fully alongside, so he does go for it. And Mart tries to hold it, but can't. But Kevlar had to really cut the curb to give space there. But he hasn't got a penalty, so that's the main thing. As Honor now gets past Mart. And that's Jack. Jack has come through, so Jack has got past Gecko and Oni, and now he's going to get past Mart. But there's a little bit of contact with Mart and Oni, I believe, there, and Gecko gets caught up behind him and looks like he had to back out of that. So that's not good news for Gecko. That drops him back down to 6th place, that does. So unfortunately Gecko got a bit held up there. Well, that's good news for Jack, because he's got through no problem. And we're on lap 3, and he's only 1.1 seconds off the lead. So my money would be on Jack at this point, as someone behind spins out. That was Miguel. Not quite sure if there was contact with anyone there, as Gecko's struggling to get through the pack here. And Jack is now going for the move on Honor, and he does make it stick. So now he's just got Kevlaro left, and then he's got full control of this race once he gets past Kevlaro. So if Jack does get past Kevlaro, I can't see past Jack just running away with it and controlling it from the front. But then it'll be interesting to see between Gecko and Kevlaro, because Gecko will be chasing him down, I imagine. But at the moment, Gecko is still stuck in this little train. He just can't get by Mart and Oni here. He's getting a little bit caught out. Maybe with Kevlaro going for that move at the chicane, and maybe that's where Jack managed to take advantage and Gecko couldn't, unfortunately. But again, Gecko looking for the inside. He does get it this time. So that's Gecko past Mart, back up into 6th. But no, he doesn't quite get as good an exit, because Mart's got the slipstream on the exit there. So he has to filter back in behind. So he's really struggling in this slipstream train here, Gecko. But there we go, he does get through now, and Ace Killer tries to follow him through. And does Ace Killer get through? No, I don't think he does. But he holds it round the outside. No, he doesn't. Mark gets that position back. So great little battle now then between these two here. As Distinct Space is a bit out of shape behind, so he's struggling a bit in this one with everyone being on the softer tyres. But let's see if them mediums come into play later on in the race like they did in the last race. He just kept going and doing his thing and got a good result in the last race, so we'll see whether he can do that again. So Gecko now has dropped Mark, so he's now going to want to get past Oni, who at the moment doesn't quite have slipstream on us, which Gecko will want him to not get because make his pass a little bit easier. But we've missed Jack getting past Kevlaro now. So Jack has got by Kevlaro. And is Jack starting to pull away? It looks like he is. So this to me is Jack's race to win. Now he'll just cruise to the end of the race. I mean, and even if he's worried about tyre wear, we saw his pace on the mediums in the last race. He can just put mediums on instead and it'll be no issue. So now I think the interesting gap to watch will be the gap between Kevlaro and Gecko. But Kevlaro won't want to make the same mistake that he did in the last race of not selecting the tyres properly at the pit stop. Oh, as Gecko's gone off wide there, so something's happened there with Gecko, and he's dropped back down to 7th place now. So things are not going well for Gecko getting through this pack here. He just can't quite get a clear run past everybody. Oh, as there's a bit of contact there up ahead, and Halo Honor manages to keep hold. Ace Killer off the bloody hell, this is one pack of cars here. This is 6 cars all in this really small space, as Halo's getting pushed wide but keeps it on the track. And Gecko's going to go around the outside here, is he? But is he going to be run off the track? No, he just gets it back on, but he has to back out as Ace Killer gets another screen freeze. So that disappears him out of this pack, unfortunately. But Gecko now does get round the outside. No, there's contact. No, there's not. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Dust kicked up from Gecko's car on the exit of the corner. Must have just touched the gravel. Honor looked like he had a bit of a wiggle on as though there was a bit of contact. But everybody survived, so that's the main thing. So Gecko now then really getting held up in this. This is just allowing those guys at the front to run away. Gecko's going to have to put one hell of a second stint in to chase after them front guys if he wants a podium from this race. But Jack already looks like he's got a simple first place in this one. But I don't want to go away from this group at the moment to see what's going on, because this is a very interesting battle between all of these guys now. And Gecko's probably kicking himself that he's stuck in the middle of this, because he probably knows once he gets out of this battle, he probably knows he's got the speed. It's just he can't seem to get out of this battle. He's just stuck in it. As Halo goes a bit wide there, does Space get by as well? No, he doesn't by the looks of it. Your Space has to settle back in, and Ace Killer back behind him. Things are horrible for Ace Killer with those screen freezes he keeps getting. We noticed one of them or two of them in the first race, but we've noticed at least 3 already in this race, so hopefully that doesn't continue. So this group started to spread out a little bit now, should hopefully make it easier for Gecko. So he's got the run on Mark again. He's already passed Mark once and ended up back behind him. So can he do it a second time? Very close up to the back of him now. As these guys behind, something's happened to Ace Killer there. He's slow. Distinct Space gets by. Miguel's right on the back of them as well. So Miguel, who ended up spun out early on, is now back in this battle with how much these cars have been battling. And he squeezes his way by Ace Killer there. Bit of an aggressive move, but he got it done cleanly, and he did give space on the exit, so he's going to now chase after Distinct Space. Halo Honor now dropping back from Gecko. So can Gecko get a run now to get by Mart, as Mart loses the back end there? So is that going to be enough for Gecko to get the run as Halo comes into the pits? So very early pit stop for Halo there. So I imagine that'll be mediums going on for him as Gecko does get the run, and Mart hasn't got slipstream this time. So Gecko should get this move done now, up into 5th place. And he does, he gets that move done cleanly now then. So Gecko now looking to chase down Bits. Oh, his Bits gets really sideways there, but he captures it. But he's totally missed that apex now, so that'll help Gecko catch up to him now then. And then there's, if Gecko can get past Bits, he's got 6 seconds to chase down a podium position and 10 seconds to chase down for a 2nd place. So I think he's going to struggle, and Jack has just cruised away with this one already. Well, maybe the tyre wear on that Mazda's not particularly great, because Jack's tyres are nearly gone already, but then again, so are that Porsche. So's pretty much everyone. Gecko's looking after his rear tyres fairly well, to be honest, in the Ford GT. But he does get a bit of a slide on there by the looks of it, as he is getting right up behind Bits now. So Oni in clear space, 5 seconds ahead, 5 seconds behind. So let's see if they come into the pits this lap or go for the one more, because I think if they come in this lap, they're probably going to have to put the mediums on, not the softs. So yes, they are going to go for one more, same as Kevlaro and Jack. Bits one more, Gecko one more. Marty's coming in though. Space on the mediums will obviously be easy, do one more. Miguel going for one more. Ace Killer going for one more as well. And obviously Honor, who's already come in and put the mediums on. So let's see if that undercut works, even though they're on the harder compound of tyre now then. But Jack's just running away with this one, no problem. So as long as he doesn't make a mistake here, he should easily have this one. But them tyres are getting extremely worn. But very even tyre wear by the looks of it on that car. So that is one advantage of the Mazda, that the tyres wear very evenly. Kevlaro in the Porsche as well, just about to run out of tyres. So he's going to obviously not want to make a mistake. Same as Oni, just about to run out of tyres. Bittis got a little bit to play with, and so's Gecko. If that Ford GT tyre wear was as even as that Mazda, he could probably go for another lap here, Gecko, but with them rears, I think he's going to have to come in this lap, which I think everybody will come in this lap now, and everybody will be going on to the softs again, other than possibly Distinct Space, who did medium last time. But let's see if Distinct Space goes for something a bit different this time, whether he's going to try and go a bit longer, do another couple of laps, and maybe go for the medium soft strategy. Let's see what he chooses to do. Does he come into the pits this lap? He does. So at Distinct Space, I believe, will just be doing that medium again, just playing it safe and sensible and seeing what he can get, as the top 7 are all in the pits now, top 8 all in the pits. So the only 2 not in the pits are Honor and Mart, who have both already pitted. Oh, as Honor goes for a big spin there. So that allows Mart past, who is on the soft tyres. So Mart could struggle in the final lap of this stint, having pitted earlier for those soft tyres. But let's see if he's managed to jump anybody. Does look like he's jumped ahead of Space. But he might have already, Space might not have got by him before, but he stayed behind Gecko. So Gecko now will be wanting to get past Bits as quick as possible. And if he can, he's then got 5 seconds to chase down Oni. So we'll see whether Gecko is capable of doing that. But Jack should have a comfortable win now as he's just running away. 53.7. Let's see if he can beat his fastest lap, 53.0, I believe it was in the last race. So we'll go on board with Jack when he finishes this lap off. But let's just stay with Gecko now and see whether he can get past Bits. But it doesn't quite look like he's going to be able to. Looks like the best place for Gecko has been into turn 1 in this race. That's where he seems to have got most of his moves done. But he obviously has struggled to get by people for some reason. Maybe just being a little bit too cautious, and Jack took advantage when he saw his opportunity. Gecko gets a good exit there. Let's see if he gets the move done into turn 1, and then we'll go and see how Jack's doing, because he'll be going for fastest lap on this lap, I imagine. Let's see, can Gecko send it? No, not quite close enough to go for something there. So let's see how Jack's doing now then. So he is up on his time at the moment. So coming up to the hairpin now, so we'll see how much up on his time he is after this. Because this is when he's, this lap or the next lap is when he's most likely to set his fastest lap of the race. And he is 3 tenths up now. And he is flat through the Schumacher S's. And he just doesn't miss an apex. He uses the full width of the track all the time, as he's nearly 6 tenths up on his time now. So if he can have a good chicane, he might be on to get into the 52s here. Let's see whether he can manage that. He did a 53 flat in the last race for the fastest lap, I believe. So just coming around the final corner now then, let's see what lap time this is. As we see, Gecko is still behind. But it is, it's a 52.8. Absolutely incredible lap there from Jack. 52.8. So Kevlaro now looking comfortable in second place. And he has put the mediums on, so he's played it safe. Gone on to the mediums. He's not made the same mistake as he did in the last race. Oni has put the softs on again though, so can Oni chase down Kevlaro at all? As Bits is still managing to hold off Gecko here. As Gecko gets too much on that inside line and over that bump, he can't, once you dip in off turn 1, you dip if you go too much to the inside, and it can unsettle the car, which has happened to Gecko a couple of times here. But he's all over the back of Bits now, he just can't find a way past, unfortunately. So great driving from Bits here. But Gecko is trying now to get by. But are these guys are catching Oni together though. So the gap is closing to Oni, so there's still a chance for top 3 for Gecko here, but he will be wanting to get past and using his own pace to chase after Oni. But obviously Bits isn't going to want to lose that 4th place. So he ain't going to let Gecko by with just under 9 minutes left to go now then. So let's see who else. Let's go through the field now and see where everyone is. So Jack now has got a 14-second lead. So Jack's more than comfortable at the front of this race. Again, it's just going to be a matter of how big this gap is at the end of the race rather than whether he wins it, unless he makes a big mistake. Kevlaro is being gained on by Oni here, but Kevlaro did go onto the medium tyres and played it safe, but the gap's not coming down at any significant speed. Oni then in 3rd place said he's gaining, but probably not by enough to challenge for 2nd, and is being gained on at the moment, but again, as it stands, possibly not quite enough to be caught, as Bits and Gecko still fight. So can Gecko get past Bits here? And there's some great driving from Bits. He's not giving any room for Gecko to get by, and Gecko looks like he's trying a bit of everything, just trying to find where that gap will be, looking to get good exits out the corners, but he's just not quite got enough to get a run, to get alongside into the braking zones anywhere. Let's see, now he goes in, gets a good exit now, so going to be right up behind him through the Schumacher S. So let's see if he can make anything happen now then. No, he has a little luck, does Gecko, but not close enough to go for anything. Now he's going to want a good exit out of this corner for the run into the chicane. See if he can get alongside. He does get the better exit, but he's going to be too far behind, I think, to actually get alongside. So yeah, see if Gecko can do it again. He's like to get the run out the final corner, so let's see if Gecko can get a good run out the final corner and look for something into turn 1. If you look, he goes for that wider line entry to get on the power earlier, which he does, but Bits is going to defend it this time. So Bits is really looking to hold on to that 4th, but he goes back to the racing line. Was that a mistake? Has Gecko got alongside him? He has. They both turn in, but Bits has got it on the outside. Can Gecko get round the outside here or cut back? He is holding the outside, but Bits has got the inside for the next left again. But let's see if Gecko can hold it here and have the inside for the right, which he is just about going to do. But Bits has still got it as they give each other space. So Bits is going to have the inside again now. So they're still side by side, these two. But Gecko's going to have the inside for the next right if he can hold it, which he does. As Bits holds it again, so they're still holding it, and Gecko has to filter back in. This is incredible racing from these two here. Gecko just not able to get by. He's all over the back of Bits, but Bits is placing that car very well. And then even when Gecko did nearly get by, he held it on the outside and held on to that position. He's not going to give up 4th place without a fight here. This is good news for Oni, because all this fighting prevents them catching him. But Gecko gets a good exit there, but nowhere to really go with it. And he gets a good exit again, so he's going to have to run into the chicane now. Yes, he is, and will he get the inside line for the chicane? No! Bits covers it off, so great driving from Bits again. So Gecko has to settle in behind. So let's see if Gecko goes for that wider line into the final corner again. No, he doesn't. He gets up the inside before the final corner. So he gets the inside line early. So now it's a drag race down to turn 1, and Gecko has got the inside for it. So is he finally going to get this move done? But I wonder if that Ford has had its straight line speed punished a bit in the last BOP update, because Bits started to pull away then as they were going down the straight. But Gecko does finally get that move done. So great little battle from these two, but Bits might still try and get back at it here. But that has probably been too much now for Gecko to chase down that podium spot, though. That battle has cost him too much time. So he might have to settle for 4th, but he might still have to worry about Bits behind him. Let's see what he can do. Now he's in, yeah, he's dropped Bits already, so he did have the pace on Bits. So let's see what Gecko can do in the clear air, whether he does have a chance of chasing after Oni, but I think that gap might be too big now, unfortunately, for him. So Bits now might have to settle for 5th place, but fantastic show he was putting on for us there. Miguel probably going to get a 5th place now, looks in a bit of no man's land. Same as Space, should get a simple 7th place. Mart should get 8th, but obviously going to have to watch out for Honor, not too far behind. And then Ace Killer, unfortunately, with all his screen freeze problems, has obviously ended up at the back of this race. So the first race he had a couple, but this race it looks like it's got much worse. So that's unfortunate for him. So 22nd lead now for Jack up at the front of this one. So more than comfortable now. So let's see as those tyres die off whether Jack's just going to chill out to the end of this race, because he doesn't want to push and make a big mistake and give Kevlaro a chance to get that 1st place. But Kevlaro again will be similar, but he's got, because he's on the mediums, he's got no issues with tyres. So he'll be able to just cruise now. Oni should be able to cruise to the end, but he might feel the pressure from Gecko behind as his tyres are starting to go. And we saw that McLaren's front tyres were basically non-existent at the end of that first stint. So we'll see, because Gecko is catching at a fair rate here, but I still don't think it's quite enough at the moment, because there is only going to be one more lap for these guys after this. So 3.5 seconds in, what, 1.5 laps for Gecko to catch up and make the move. I don't think he's going to quite do it, but obviously Oni's tyres are a lot worse than Gecko's, and he has now got a penalty, so this could be huge for the 3rd place. So we could be on for a massive battle for 3rd place on the final lap here. And Oni isn't going to serve the penalty on this lap, so it's going to be served on the final lap. So that makes things interesting. So let's see how close Gecko can get to him. We could have into the chicane on the final lap. We could be looking at a possible move for 3rd place. Let's see, as Gecko has brought another second out of that gap in that half of a lap. So Gecko is going to be on him by the end of this lap if he keeps this pace up. So that's going to be one to watch at the end, as Jack's just cruising now at the front onto the final lap. Kevlaro onto his final lap, cruising in 2nd. Oni and Gecko is going to be the fight to see. And Bits trying to see if he can cling on to Gecko, maybe capitalise as well on Oni's tyre wear and that penalty. Miguel got a penalty as well, but in a bit of no man's land, so should be a simple 6th place. Same for Space in 7th. Martin 8th onto his final lap. Ace Killer also onto his final lap, and then Halo is going to be the first to cross the line. Must have had another issue, so he's going to cross the line in 10th now, as he's going to nearly spin it at the end for us there. So he's the first to cross the line. So let's get back on board with Gecko here, chasing down Oni. That gap now is down to 8 tenths, 7.5 tenths, and there's a half a second penalty to be served here. That penalty could be what costs Oni here. That penalty could have cost him the podium, and Gecko has managed to close down in these last couple of laps after looking like the podium was gone for him. He's going to take a 3rd place off Oni here as this penalty is served. You would imagine he will get by on the run down to the chicane. Just needs a good exit out of this corner, which he gets. He gets a very good exit, does Gecko. He probably would have got him even without the penalty. His exit was that good. So Gecko up into a third place as Jack crossed the line miles before anybody else. So well done for Jack again. Another P1 and fastest lap as Kevlara is going to bring it home in second place, making up for the disaster of a first race that he had. Gecko fantastic at the end there to get a third place out of a very difficult race for him. Oni well done on a fourth, and Bits some superb driving against Gecko there to bring home fifth. Miguel has been caught by Space right at the end, having served that penalty, but he is going to hold that sixth place. Marty's going to bring home an eighth place behind Space in seventh. And then Ace Killer is going to round us off in ninth place. Unfortunate for all the issues that he has had in this one. But some great driving from everybody there. But for me personally, I think driver of the day has got to go to Jack. I don't like giving it to the person that just cruises at the front, but he's more than cruised at the front. He's just easily won both of these races, really. So I don't think you can really look anywhere else other than Jack for driver of the day in this one. So well done to Jack there on a full clean sweep of everything. Pole position for race one, fastest lap for race one and two, and a win for race one and two. So Jack starts the season off as the man to beat by the looks of it. Kevlaro, after a very disappointing first race with a few little things that happened and a big pit stop mistake, has recovered to a second place in the second race, so that's well deserved. Gecko with some fantastic driving after being stuck in the pack trying to get back through from the back of the grid in this reverse grid race. Oni cruising very well for this race after struggling maybe a little bit in the first one. So great result in fourth for them. Bits with some fantastic battling with Gecko in this race that we got to see. So well deserved fifth place for him. And then everybody else again just keeping it comfortable, and unfortunately a few issues for people. But some very, very good racing there. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. But I'm going to leave it at that now. So we've witnessed some fantastic racing in this one. So we'll see you next week for round two, where hopefully we get some more fantastic racing as well. So see you later, guys.